And now it's time to fix these boards. I've cooled my temper. Oh, this is so exciting. Welcome to week 2 of getting the foundation ready for concrete. Last week, I got 80% of our form boards up for our monolithic slab. But it doesn't end there. I still have to stake and brace it all and finish forming the bump out for our foundation. But first of all, I have to check that everything is square before I can do the bump out. This side is a 1/4 inch off, which makes sense because it's not even in the right spot with the string line. Hope I can fix it. If you're new here, for the last 1.5 years, I've been working my butt off to develop our land and to start our home build from scratch with very little experience. This is the very first foundation I've ever worked on, and I'm determined to do it right. This is also a 1/4 inch off. So after putting most of the form boards up last week with rebar, I knew that I was gonna have to double check that everything was square before I started putting in the wooden stakes, which are gonna keep everything from moving. Everything is square. I'm so excited. Now it's time to start driving down stakes to hold it in place before I do the bump out. I want to make sure absolutely nothing moves. To make sure my form boards stay in place while I hammer the wooden stakes down, I'm checking to make sure that everything is square by checking my diagonal measurement. Not gonna lie, hammering these stakes in is so much work on the arms. No wonder people hire like a crew of 5 people to put it together. Like, this is just a lot of physical labor. I've even whipped out my axe because I'm hoping for a bit more leverage. I'm thinking the gravel ground underneath this is making it way more difficult. Okay, that was a waste of my time, and it's starting to rain. Take 2. It's getting really windy and rainy. I think it's time to pack up. I definitely gave up on this one. I couldn't get it deeper into the ground. Some days, no matter how much work you do, it just feels like you don't get enough done. But there's always another day. Good morning. I am back at it on this very cold morning, and it's time to get all of the staking done today. Instead of measuring each piece, I'm going to take some recommendations from the comments and make a little bit of a jig setup so that when I push the piece of wood against it, it's cutting exactly where I want it to at 4 feet. All of the stakes are cut. I've made sure everything is still square, and what I'm gonna do is pile stakes into all of the corners so that nothing can move. Now, time to make my arms fall off by sledgehammering all of these stakes in. There we go. All of the corners are braced. Kind of. They still need 45s. So I did all of the stakes a little bit closer together around the corner, but now for the rest of the form boards, I'm gonna have a stake every 2 feet. Let's see how long this takes me. Honestly, this is not going well. I keep slamming things into this side and they're just not going deep enough into the ground. I mean, I'm probably just gonna leave them there because they're not budging very much, but like, I'm getting frustrated. It feels like every time I get a stake in about a 1/2 foot, I must be hitting something like a rock or bedrock, but it's not making sense to me that there would be bedrock that high. Like, I don't know what I'm hitting, but I can't get the stakes to drive down further. This clearly is not going well. I'm gonna go take a lunch break. Okay, lunchtime is over. I've cooled my temper. I'm wondering if just on the back side of this building I'm hitting frost or something and I'm having a hard time getting through it, because I should be at least be able to get through the 12 inches of gravel that we put down. So it's really bizarre. I'm just gonna keep moving along.
As I moved on to another side, I was able to drive in the stakes a lot more easily, and I just decided that the other side is just gonna have to do.
This is the end of my day. I feel like I did not get very much done today, but I got a ton of stakes up, and tomorrow I'm gonna get started on that bump out. Good morning. So I accidentally wore these on my feet this morning. So yeah, that was a mistake. But anyways, we're gonna move on. Today, I'm gonna form the bump out for the foundation. Now, I'm not done staking yet, but I did hurt my rotator cuff. So I'm gonna get my husband to come and help me with the rest of them this weekend. Before I get started, I'm getting a delivery this morning. So I have to go bump up the bell line that we have across our driveway. The turf wars have continued with my Canadian geese. So this should be exactly 14.4 1/4, which it is, and that should also be 14.4 1/4. All right, I've measured this side, and for whatever reason, I'm 1/4 of an inch off. So I have to take this board out and recut it. I'm running around like crazy this morning. I just saw our delivery go by. I want to make sure they get under the bell line properly. They have a pretty big truck. All right, the installation was successful. It's gonna be for the slab. You need R10 insulation, so I'll be installing that next week. And now it's time to fix these boards. It's never really smooth sailing here, especially when deliveries come. And it kind of just feels like you're running around like a crazy person sometimes. Perfect. I told myself I wasn't gonna be hammering a bunch of stakes in today, but my issue is I need this side and this side to be exactly where it's gonna be so that I can square the bump out. So I'm gonna have to hammer in a few more stakes and then I can get started on the bump out. There are officially stakes in, and now I'm gonna get working on cutting the wood for this bump out. I just realized I cut all 4 of my boards wrong. Luckily I have extra, but it's just frustrating, you know? These 4 boards are short by the width of the board. Sometimes you just do math wrong. I cut the rebar, I put the boards together, they're all ready to go for the bump out. I'm so excited. Now I just have to make sure everything gets put in the right place. Time to measure and time to put them up. It's starting to rain and I don't even care because this is happening. I'm gonna see the shape of our foundation. What the heck? I'm missing 5 inches. I was so close. I refuse to fully take this in until everything is screwed together and I'm done. I haven't looked yet. Okay, here we go. Wow. Oh, this is so exciting. This is gonna be our front window living room view overlooking the wetlands. And the wetlands are still low by a full foot right now, and it's looking incredible. Just seeing something take form, something new take form, take shape is the most incredible feeling. And the fact that there was a bunch of people who told me I shouldn't do it by myself, and that I really just felt capable the whole time while doing it. I'm just so thankful I trusted my gut and just went for it, because this is such an incredible feeling. I didn't realize the time. I have to go pick up my daughter. I'll check to make sure everything is square when I'm here on the weekend with my husband. It'll be much easier to check with him because there's nothing for me to clamp to over here. So I'm gonna need help for squaring this portion. But anyways, I'm so excited. I'll see you this weekend. Good morning. I'm back with my geese and my husband. And we are ready to get to work.
And she was answering comments while I was getting everything set up.
Yeah, it's a Sunday morning, so I'm answering comments. And when I have my husband here, I like when he's able to do the heavy lifting for me. I feel like rightfully so. Anyways, as you get to know my husband throughout this build, you'll realize he's the sarcastic, kind of Jim Carrey kind of guy. We're 4 inches off from each other. This is where you need to double check your math, because I got the diagonal wrong. And so we moved a bunch of stuff to shift the diagonal and then check the other side and realized the measurements were 2 completely different measurements, which they shouldn't have been. So I rechecked my math and my math was wrong. So we are resquaring this. Okay, kick it 1/8 of an inch.
The bump out is officially squared to the rest of the building, and while Cam is going to get working on cutting the stakes, I'm going to get working on hammering in the rebar to make sure that the bump out stays in place before I put the wooden stakes in.
So after all that work, we still did not get the bracing up. That will be next week's project, but we got all of the staking in, all of the rebar in, all of the boards up. There is so much more work to do before we can get ready for concrete. Thank you so much for joining me this week. And if you haven't yet, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's a huge help to me and my family. And with that, I will see you next week.